In Florida, he pled guilty and he got 18 months in a minimum security facility. He was allowed to leave for 12 hours a day to work at a foundation he founded, and apparently continued doing exactly what he was doing before. And I don't want to be too graphic and lurid because there might be kids watching, but he was doing precisely the kinds of things that we're talking about in terms of the protection of children. He was violating children, violating young women, and then he would go and spend the night in jail. And in the meantime, he was able to bargain immunity for all of these other people who were working for him.
The gentleman yield.
Yes, by all means.
In other words, while he was doing all the sexual predation, the government was providing room and board and meals and making it cheap of him to do so.
Well, that's not a bad way of looking at it, especially because apparently it was a very comfy jail cell they set up for him. Now, I'm sure he would have preferred to be back in one of his mansions, which were basically sexual dungeons for the young women and girls that got swept up in his sex conspiracy, which was something that the vast majority of Americans deplore and abhor and want to get to the bottom of and want to know the truth about. But anyway, he spent those nights, and then they wiped the slate clean for him to continue to go on and do it again and again and again. This is a guy who should have immediately been prosecuted and then convicted and sent to prison for the rest of his life for what he had done. Now, Ghislaine Maxwell was prosecuted and convicted as a felony sex offender and sentenced to 20 years in jail. She just got transferred out of her prison to a club fed in. Sex offenders are not normally allowed. Execution to Epstein and all of his unnamed co-conspirators. They were protected by that sweetheart deal. And this is about child sex trafficking, and the legislation is all about the protection of children. I don't see how it could be more aligned with the legislation here. Look, if you oppose it, if you don't want the file coming out, at least have the backbone and the courage to stand up and say you don't want it coming out. But don't say this isn't relevant to the protection of children. Give me a break.
Imagine a rule that says the most powerful people in the country can argue forever about procedure, as long as they never have to argue about truth. That's the scene in this House Judiciary hearing. Not a debate about whether Jeffrey Epstein trafficked children. Not a debate about whether the government failed to stop him. Instead, a debate about whether Congress should even be allowed to talk about releasing the files. Before this turns into names or parties, understand why this moment matters. When transparency itself is ruled out of order, that's not a technicality. That's a warning sign. Representative Jim Jordan dismisses the amendment as irrelevant, calling it Trump derangement syndrome. That line lands hard, not because it's loud, but because of what it avoids. The amendment on the table is simple. Pause the bill until all Epstein-related documents are released to the public. No accusations, no verdicts, just disclosure. But instead of arguing against disclosure on the merits, the response is procedural. First, it's not germane. Then, it's partisan. Finally, it's mocked. That sequence is familiar to a lot of Americans. When an issue gets uncomfortable, institutions don't always deny the facts. They change the subject.
Wait, hang on a second.
Okay, yeah.
Clerk will report, and then we'll go.
Mr. Chairman, I have a point of order.
Gentlelady can state her point of order.
Mr. Chairman, could you give the rationale for why this is not germane? Because I simply don't understand it. I mean, the fact that the Oversight Committee is doing something does not negate our ability to do something. If you want to vote against the amendment, I suppose you could do that. But why is it not germane? This bill is about unaccompanied minors. We know that there is trafficking. It is about trafficking. It is about sexual abuse. It is about all the things that the release of the Epstein documents are also about. So what is the rationale for ruling it not germane versus you saying that you don't support the amendment, which
No, I didn't say I didn't support the amendment. I said that it's not germane. It doesn't fit under the rules. An amendment may make the effectiveness of a bill subject to a condition if that condition is related to the provisions of the bill. An amendment
but this is related to provisions of the bill.
Does not satisfy the rules, and that is why it's not germane.
So there's no rationale.
There's been appeal of the ruling of the chair. There's been a motion to table that. The question is on tabling of the motion. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Those opposed, no.
No.
Opinion of the chair, the ayes have
I'd
it.
like a recorded vote, Mr. Chairman.
Recorded vote being requested, the clerk will call the roll.
Mr. Jordan?
Yes.
Mr. Jordan votes yes. Mr. Issa? Mr. Biggs? Mr. McClintock? Mr. McClintock votes aye. Mr. Tiffany? Mr. Massey? Mr. Massey votes no. Mr. Roy? Mr. Fitzgerald? Mr. Fitzgerald votes aye. Mr. Klein? Mr. Gooden? Mr. Van Drew? Mr. Nels? Mr. Nels votes yes. Mr. Moore? Mr. Kiley? Ms. Hageman? Ms. Hageman votes yes. Ms. Lee? Ms. Lee votes yes. Mr. Hunt? Mr. Fry? Mr. Fry votes aye. Mr. Grothman? Mr. Grothman votes aye. Mr. Knott? Mr. Knott votes yes. Mr. Harris? Mr. Harris votes yes. Mr. Onder? Mr. Schmidt? Mr. Schmidt votes aye. Mr. Gill? Mr. Baumgartner? Mr. Baumgartner votes aye. Mr. Raskin?
No.
Mr. Raskin votes no. Mr. Nadler? Mr. Nadler votes no. Ms. Lofgren? Mr. Cohen? Mr. Johnson? Mr. Johnson votes no. Mr. Swalwell? Mr. Liu? Ms. Jayapal? Ms. Jayapal votes no. Mr. Correa? Mr. Correa votes no. Ms. Scanlon? Mr. Neguse? Ms. McBath? Ms. McBath votes no. Ms. Ross? Ms. Ballant? Ms. Ballant votes no. Mr. Garcia? Mr. Garcia votes no. Ms. Kamlager-Dove? Ms. Kamlager-Dove votes no. Mr. Moskowitz? Mr. Moskowitz votes no. Mr. Goldman? Mr. Goldman votes no. Ms. Crockett? Mr. Issa votes yes.
Mr. Gooden, gentleman from Texas.
Mr. Gooden votes yes.
Clerk will report.
Mr. Chairman, there are 14 ayes and 12 noes.
The amendment is tabled. Who seeks recognition?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to strike the last word.
Gentleman's recognized.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just following up on a little bit of what the ranking member was discussing, there was a significant event this week in which this committee has jurisdiction over. The Speaker of the House, the third highest ranking U.S. official, third in line to be the president, looked into the TV cameras and told us that the current president of the United States was an FBI informant. I consider that to be gigantic news. And I'm just curious, have we reached out to the FBI, to Kash Patel, to confirm whether the president was at any time an FBI informant? I only say that because the Speaker of the House obviously gets significant briefings. He gets briefings that we do not get as regular members. And so I think this is something that we need to hear definitively. Before Kash Patel comes, we should clear up, maybe that we should send a letter to him to find out if the president was an informant. And if he was an informant, is that because he was working with the FBI after he was hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein? Did he turn because...
I yield back.
Gentleman yields back. Does the gentleman from Maryland wish to respond?
Yeah, Mr. Chairman, I suppose I am a fanatic for child safety. I am a fanatic against child sex trafficking. Yes, I am. And I will be a fanatic to stand up for the public interest and the vast majority of Americans who want the truth to come out and don't want to sweep it under the rug.
Then the
Susie, it's
gentleman
my
will support
time.
this
It's my
bill.
time. I'm not yielding to you right now. I've heard enough from you. Now, Mr. Epstein's victims included aspiring models from abroad, including South America. He had a whole team working in France.
The gentleman,
used-
the gentleman should focus on the point of order.
This is focusing on the point of order, Mr. Chairman, because
All
I'm
right,
talking
just-
about
just-
the international dimension.
Just reminding the gentleman who spoke more than anyone today here at this hearing and has said that he's not going to support the bill, as the gentleman from California just pointed out. So if you can stay focused
I
on the point
wanna-
of order, that'll be good.
I would love to support the bill if you support the release of the Epstein file and the Costa file. I mean, let's.
We're forgetting all the information. We're forgetting all that information out, and that's why I've told you about.
Well, let's get it out today.
Mr. Acosta's deposition and Mr.
We've heard a lot of promises about getting it out.
Committee.
We haven't seen much action. A lot of promises, but no action. Today, we could take some action. The gentleman suggests that my amendment is not in order because it's not germane to the question of international child trafficking and illegal immigration. Well, Mr. Epstein's victims, including aspiring models and girls being taken advantage of from South American countries and from Europe and France. He used a ring of associates to rotate the women and girls in and out of sexual servitude in different countries, in different places, using fraudulent modeling visas to transport them across state lines and across international borders. He tracked their availability and their proximity using this database. This is exactly what we're talking about. It's hard to see how it could be more material, more germane, and more relevant.
This isn't about one man, one party, or one scandal. It's about whether transparency is treated as a right or as a disruption. When releasing records about child trafficking is ruled irrelevant, the message is clear. Some truths are considered more dangerous than wrongdoing itself. And once a system learns it can survive without answers, it rarely rushes to provide them.